And this morning we're going to wrap up our NoSQL versus SQL series. And the four basic questions, if you're looking to hire people or whatnot, and I'm going to send some of you to this series, what that means is that you were asking some pretty straightforward questions. So when looking for a solution, definitely watch the first two parts. And in this third part here, how much time, energy, money can be saved with the solution? Okay, so you might have a developer who says, well, yeah, if the data are constantly changing, I can still develop a SQL solution in the way blah, 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 and they'll go into it. And you're saying, well, that's true, but how much extra time is that going to cost? Remember, more than likely, you're going to be charged if there's a lot more time involved, and not always. Two, the energy involved, right? How is that going to affect your clients? How is that going to affect the people who are consuming the data? Like in the previous video, in the example, if we have a similar structure to trading, maybe it only changes once every 6 months. Hey, you know, that's great. That's not going to really affect our time or energy. Plus, if it's going to be faster, we've got to make decisions quickly in trading. We can't sit there and wait around, right? We can't strum our fingers. So speed is the key. SQL is a very good solution. Something like job experience, something like work experience, it's all about how does a client want their work experience to look like, right? Okay, so yes, number two, how will the client see the solution? Who's the end user? Trading, it's me, right? Well, for the job experience, it's the client, right? We don't want them to go off and build their own web page. I'm not cracking on that, but my point is if you're like LinkedIn, this is why LinkedIn is dumb here. If you're like LinkedIn, you want them to have a LinkedIn page, right? You want them to be able to build their page dynamically. This is kind of the problem. You're going to end up losing customers because they're like, oh, well, I don't like the structure of this. I'm going to go off and build my own website. Number three, how fast will the solution be for the client, right? Speed is sometimes the key. Trading is a good example of that. Sometimes that's exactly how it is. A graphic designer, it's going to be, he's going to or she's going to be focused on the speed of how quickly their images may load, but they also want it to look really good, right? So they're more going to be focused on, I want it to look impressive. This person is going to look, first impressions mean everything. This website is beautiful. So if it takes a little extra time but impresses the client about how pretty their website looks, that may be more important. And then finally, what is the feedback from the client? Or again, if it's the example of trading, if this is you, how do you look at this solution? What do you think about this solution? Is it fast enough for you? Does it enable you to make those decisions quickly, or does it kind of trip you over things? There is no one solution we can apply it to everything. It's going to be dependent on what we're planning to do. So if your clients come back, for instance, maybe on LinkedIn as a case in point, and like, this is not how jobs work. Like, how do I put this into this structure? Then you change your structure, or you allow them to pick their structure or to create their own structure. Likewise, if you're using the same thing over and over again, it might be inconvenient if you sit there, especially with trading. I mean, you're either going to buy or you're going to sell, right? I mean, or you're going to hold on, but if you're holding, you're not going to be buying or selling, right? We're talking about buying or selling stocks. So if somebody's going to click on the trade button, they're going to buy or sell. There's only so many options there. That's not dynamic. Okay, what other things are you going to do besides buying and selling? I mean, holding, then you're not going to click the trade button. When you click the trade button, you're either going to sell or you're going to be buying. That's all there is to it. Same thing even if you look at options. Again, there's only so many options, even in options, right? So the idea is you want to be careful. Some places there, it may be dynamic, but other places not going to be dynamic at all. So knowing what your client needs and then what the feedback is from your client will be really useful in minimizing any type of issues, as well as building a structure that makes them happy in the long run.